similar triangles. This one's a little bit harder. We have overlapping triangles. These triangles are similar because we basically have angle-angle. This angle matches itself on both triangles. Then these two angles are corresponding. Okay, I've got to match up the small triangle with the large triangle. Now the large triangle, and these things are not necessarily drawn to scale, so I'm going to draw this one over here on the outside. That's representing the entire triangle going around. Well, this side is y plus 8, because y plus 6 plus 2. Down here, I've got x plus 11. Okay, so now I'm going to match up the small triangle that's here with the large triangle, which I just drew off to the side, and then this side right here is 12. Okay, so now we're going to try to match like things. So let's start with the x's. I have the small side, this side right here, the x plus 8 is to x plus 11. So this triangle is to this triangle. X plus 8 is to x plus 11, as small side, which is 10, matches the 12, or 10 is to 12. For the y's, I'm going to match up y plus 6 matches up with y plus 8. So you can just look at this and realize, okay, that's y plus 6 over y plus 8. Got to use the whole side. And again, I'm going to use the same two sides that I already know, 10 and 12. Okay, now it's just a question of cross multiplying and solving. So if you cross multiply and solve for this one, you get x equals 7. Solve for this one, end up with y equals 4. It asked you for the perimeter of triangle PQR. So now I've just got to plug in. Well, if x equals 7, PQR was the big triangle. That would make this side 7 plus 11 is 18. Y was 4. This side would be 4 plus 8, so I have 12. So it ends up being an isosceles triangle. This is not drawn to scale. So my perimeter is going to be 18 plus 12 plus 12, which is 42. Okay, this is a trig example. So we're going to be using SOHCAHTOA. Now, be careful with this kind of a problem. Statue is the top of a tall pillar. That's the statue. Angle elevation from point 80 feet from the base is 45 degrees. So this is 45 degrees. The angle of elevation from the same spot to top statue is 52 degrees. So when I put these two together, it adds up to 52. That's just labeled as 7 degrees, but I'm not ever going to use the 7 degrees except for to say that I'm going to use it with the 52. It asked what the height of the pillar was. Well, we don't even need to use trig for this. If this is 45, we have a 90-degree angle here. This is 45 then, because the sum of the angles in the triangle have to add up to 180. This is an isosceles triangle. So this side is congruent to this side. So they're going to have the same length. So the pillar is 80 feet. Now you could have also done it, you could have done tangent of 45 is equal to the pillar, I'm going to write as P, over 80, and you would have gotten 80, because when you do tangent of 45, it equals 1. Okay, for the second part of it, though, I want to know the height of the statue. Well, what I'm going to do is figure out what the height of the entire figure is, and then we're going to take that and add, and then subtract that, the 80 from it, because I'll find out what the height of the statue was. Because the statue plus the pillar is going to be what I'm looking for. So this whole angle here was 52. I have opposite and adjacent, so that's why I'm using tangent. So tangent of 52 is equal to the opposite side, which I called x, over 80. Cross multiply, I get 80 tangent 52 is equal to x. When you do this on your calculator, you get 102.4. The height of the statue, though, is going to be 102.4 minus the pillar, which is 80. So that's how I got 22.4 feet. For the other trig one, We have Amy is flying a kite. She has let out 80 feet of string, so that's where this 80 goes here. The string is 4 feet above the ground, so there's the 4. The angle the string makes with the ground, so that's parallel to the ground in actuality, is 63 degrees. And first step, it asks you to sketch a picture representing the situation. I want to find out what the height of the kite is, and that's this entire height right here. But what I'm going to do first is figure out what x is. So this time, I'm given the opposite side and the hypotenuse. So I use sine. So sine of 63 is equal to x over 80. I get 80 sine 63 equals x. When we solve it, we get 71.3. But that's 71.3 from here. Then we add 4. Gives me 75.3. And that would be in feet. Okay, the last problem is the performance task, and this is our probability problem. Okay, so we have 2 spinners, and we're going to try to figure out which one you're going to choose. Well, there's 2 different games basically played. You have one person playing against another. You're going to choose a spinner, and the opponent you're playing with chooses the other. But we have 2 different games we're basically going to be working with. So the first thing is we want to see what kind of combinations we have of the 2 spinners, because that's going to help us to figure out what different parts are. So that's what the first part is. Gave you the 1/4 is what this one is. So I know that 6 is 1/4, 8 is 1/4. These got cut in half of a quarter, so they're each an eighth. So those are the probabilities going across here. This is 1/3, this is 1/3, bottom one's 1/3. So they're all a third. So that makes that one a little bit easier. Now the probability of each one, all I've got to do is multiply my numbers. So 1/4 times 1/3 is 1/12. 1/8 times 1/3 is 1/24. 1/4 times 1/3 is 1/12. Again, then we get 1/24 and 1/8 times 1/3. Then 1/4 times 1/3 is 1/12. Since these are 1/3 for each of these as well, these ones will be exactly the same as that first row. Okay, so that's just filling out your table. If it was to add everything up, I would get a total of 1. You could always do that as a check if you wanted to. These guys, if I go across this way, have to add up to 1/3. These have to add up to 1/3. The columns have to add up to 1/8 for this one. This one have to add up to 1/4. So you got 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 3/12. So that's 1/4. So you can act as a check too. Okay, first game. It says if the game is played where the higher score wins, which spinner should you choose? Justify your answer. To give you a hint, shade all the squares where spinner A has the higher value than spinner B. So that's what I did. So 2 is lower than all these numbers, so spinner A would win in all these cases. So this total right here equals 1/3. If I add up all those, I have 1/3. Then right here, 20 wins against all of them, so I don't shade any of those. And then 5, if I have 5, spinner B wins here and here, but spinner A wins in this cell, this cell, and this cell. So I'm going to add 1/12, 1/24, and 1/12. So spinner A wins 1/3. That's an entire one right here, which you could have added up all those individual ones, plus this 1/12, the 1/24, and the 1/12. Now, if I wanted to do it in a fraction, I get a common denominator, make them all over 24. So that's 8 24ths, 2 24ths, 1 24th, and 2 24ths. It gives me 13 out of 24. You could have also just added them up and got a decimal answer. The decimal answer for that particular problem, if you did do it as a decimal, would have been 0.542. That's over 50% chance, so I should choose A. So spinner A is going to have the higher probability. Spinner B would have been 11 out of 24 because these two have to add to 1, or 0.458 is what that would come out to be. The second game is played where they're going to spin it 10 times and then take their total. So the higher score, now I'm going to look at expected value. So I'm going to figure out the expected value for each one for a single spin and then multiply that answer by 10. So for spinner A, we take our value times the probability. So it's 3 times 1/4, 4 times 1/8, 6 times 1/4, 7 times 1/8, 8 times 1/4. That's what I have written right here. Just do that on your calculator. Basically, you get 3/4 plus 4/8 plus 6/4 plus 7/8 plus 8/4. You get 7.125. For spinner B, they're all 1/3. So I get 2 times 1/3, 5 times 1/3, 20 times 1/3. If you calculate this out, I get 2/3 plus 5/3 plus 20/3. That's 27/3. That equals 9. So I already know spinner B is the one I should choose because it has a higher expected value. But if I played 10 games, I would expect 71.25 points for spinner A and 90 points for spinner B. So spinner B had the higher total. I would choose spinner B.